From Southern Colorado's high-definition news leader, this is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
A killer is given the chance at freedom. Jennifer Reale murdered a wife and mother. Now her life may depend on getting out.
The woman who owns these horses has been ordered to give them up. One problem, though, where are the horses?
And I hope you are ready for a taste of winter, because that's exactly what we have in our 7-day forecast. I'll let you know when those temperatures plunge coming up.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Skoll.
And I'm James Jarman. And first up, a shocking development in the case of the woman known as the Fatal Attraction Killer.
Jennifer Reale was sentenced to life in prison for killing her lover's wife in Colorado Springs in the early 90s. Her sentence was later commuted. In a story you'll only see here, we've learned Reale could now be facing a death sentence of her own.
And I shot, and she fell.
That was Jennifer Reale then, 1992, convicted of first-degree murder in the death of Diana Hood. Reale went from mother and wife to the notorious Fatal Attraction Killer.
She wanted to know if murder was the same kind of sin as any other.
The shocking crime's been dramatized on Investigation Discovery.
She openly admitted to shooting Diana Hood.
Reale, dressed in camouflage, shot her lover's wife, Diane, as she left a lupus support group in Colorado Springs.
This was premeditated, planned, and carried out. That is the definition of first-degree murder.
My name is Lieutenant Joe Kenda. I've solved almost 400 homicides.
Retired Colorado Springs Police Lieutenant Joe Kenda helped to solve the murder.
She was a cold-blooded killer. She was there by herself. Her assistant and co-conspirator wasn't present.
Reale would be sentenced to life in prison in 1992, a sentence that would be commuted by Governor Ritter less than 20 years later.
Sorry, I don't like that word because it doesn't fit the enormity of this tragedy.
It allowed the convicted killer to be transferred to this halfway house and considered for parole, something that doesn't sit well with Lieutenant Kenda.
But along comes a group of people who speak about how things are different now and how we should forgive and how we should forget. I'm not into forgiveness, and I'm not into forgetting either.
Each time Reale's tried to get parole, she's been denied. A few weeks ago, another attempt.
Could you please state your age and your date of birth, please?
I'm 52.
She tells the judge what led up to the murder.
In 1990, I got involved with someone who was not my husband. It was a fairly, unhealthy relationship. Of course, it's an affair, so it would be.
And then...
Do you think your sentence was appropriate?
Yeah.
If a life sentence for taking someone's life is appropriate, then why should we let you out early?
That's a really good question. I believe that I could probably serve society a lot better out than in.
Later, the bombshell.
I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which nobody was expecting.
Pancreatic cancer, a disease considered largely incurable by health experts. A death sentence in and of itself.
I would like the chance to live, to be able to be on this side of this horrible thing and in some way help other people not go down the same road I went.
Reale's request is again denied, but it's not completely off the table. For the investigator, it's a privilege the real victim will not and cannot ever know.
I would like to know who among this group of people I could speak to arrange Diane Elaine Hood an early release from her grave.
And Jennifer Reale is again up for parole next October. Brian Hood, Diane's husband, was convicted of second-degree murder and conspiracy and will be eligible for parole in February of 2016.
Well, the death penalty was a big issue in the race for governor, but it didn't cost Governor Hickenlooper his job. The governor granted an indefinite reprieve to Nathan Dunlap, the man behind the 1993 Chuck E. Cheese massacre. Death penalty supporters wonder about the impact Hickenlooper might have on the future of the death penalty in our state. Specifically, the death penalty trial of Aurora Theater shooting suspect James Holmes.
would it necessarily be Governor Hickenlooper who would make the decision on homes? In all likelihood, probably not. You look at the Nathan Dunlap that we just had all the publicity about, that's a 20-year-old case. And that's generally, in Colorado, how long it takes.
Criminal defense attorney Josh Tellini points out governors don't really have an impact on the actual death penalty trials. Well, the shooting death of a burglar in Colorado Springs was justified. It happened in the 2900 block of West Colorado Avenue in Old Colorado City. The DA's office says the person at the home saw 32-year-old Eduardo Gonzalez Ortiz trying to crawl through a window. She told him she had a gun, even fired a warning shot, but he kept coming inside. That's when she shot him. Gonzalez Ortiz was taken to a hospital and later died. The shooter, who killed a 15-year-old boy in Pueblo, is still on the loose tonight. Isaac Lucero was shot and killed in broad daylight yesterday.
His family says it was likely gang-related. Lucero's death is the 14th homicide this year. That's the most at this time since 1991. KRDO News Channel 13's Michelle San Miguel talked to a community activist who's been working with police to keep guns off the streets for decades. Michelle?
Yeah, when Frank Arteaga saw gang violence and gun violence happening here in Pueblo in the early 90s, he began a program where people can drop off their guns and exchange it for some cash, and those guns are then dropped off and brought over here to the Pueblo Police Department. A day after Isaac Lucero was shot on the east side of Pueblo, another candlelight vigil is held in his memory.
It just saddens me because I probably will go to this funeral and offer whatever we can. Because they're hurting, this family's hurting.
Frank Arteaga never knew Lucero, but says his death is all too familiar. Every year around the holidays, Arteaga works to remove guns from the streets of Pueblo.
This is a .22 rifle that has been cut down.
In all, he's turned over more than 100 guns to Pueblo police.
Guns in the hands of kids that would misuse them is the whole thrust of the program.
Lucero's family believes his death was gang-related, but police have not confirmed that.
I seen him go down and it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because you know that it is someone that you care about that much. And he wasn't getting up.
Pueblo police say the record number of homicides this year is discouraging but obviously unpredictable.
Our homicides have been different. There have been a number of different circumstances. They haven't been one type of homicide which is all gang related.
But Arteaga is focused mostly on gang violence and hopefully putting it to an end.
Every gun that we get off the streets is a potential that we're saving a life.
Police are still looking for at least 2 people who they believe are responsible for Lucero's death, but still have not released a description. Reporting live in Pueblo tonight, Michelle San Miguel, KRDO News Channel 13.
Michelle, thanks. A woman is caught stealing from a mailbox with a child on her back. It happened in the 5200 block of Waddell Avenue. That's near Powers Boulevard on the city's east side. Bernard Gifford caught it all on camera. The former military cop has his house rigged with cameras. You can see the woman walk up with a child on her back. She opens up the mailbox and takes out a letter.
Some gutsy people, that's all I got to say. God, at 4:20 in the afternoon, but she evidently didn't know I had cameras all around my house.
Well, Gifford says the woman stole a letter with a check inside. He also has video of the woman getting into what appears to be an older silver Jeep Cherokee with green rims and then driving off. His neighbor had his mail stolen in the past. Gifford has reported this to police. A woman found guilty of animal cruelty cannot keep her horses. The next step is finding them.
Yeah, we first told you last month about the Callahan woman with more than 20 horses on her property. People were outraged that the horses were left with her even after she was found guilty.
But KRDO News Channel 13's Emily Allen tells us the horses are now gone, and that, of course, is raising even more questions, Emily.
James and Heather, we're here outside of the El Paso County Courthouse. It was here that a jury found Rachel Fleischacker guilty of animal cruelty. Then today, a judge said she couldn't keep those horses. But now investigators are trying to figure out where the horses went. This empty field used to be home to a herd of horses. They've left their mark on this property and a group of horse owners.
I found this whole case outrageous, that this woman was able to get away with this for so long.
Progress is being made.
The group has been fighting for more than 20 horses on a Callahan woman's property. Court documents say Rachel Fleischacker didn't give her animals adequate water. A judge says she can't keep them.
We're all coming together for the same purpose, and that's for the horses.
But there's a new question in this case. Where did the horses go?
When we first came out here a couple weeks ago, we could see more than 20 horses on this property. Right now, we only see this horse, and we did speak with neighbors who say they haven't seen the rest of the horses in 2 to 3 days.
The El Paso County Sheriff's Office says it doesn't know where the horses are. Deputies are trying to track them down.
The same thing is happening over and over and over.
Judy Tobias has been following this case and wants to know what's next.
I just wish we knew more about what's going to happen to them now.
So while this group has one answer it was hoping for, their work isn't done.
We did try to contact Fleischacker, and she has not returned our phone calls. When I spoke to her in the past, she said she was actively trying to downsize her herd by selling some of those horses. In Colorado Springs, Emily Allen Cardio, News Channel 13.
Thanks, Emily. Mystery remains. Where are those horses? Hopefully the sheriff's office can find them. Let's get you to a superstorm that's brewing half a world away. Could be bringing changes right here to southern Colorado.
It is called Superstorm Nuri. It started near Japan with 180-mile-an-hour winds. Now it's bringing 50-foot monster waves and hurricane-force winds near Alaska. And it will alter the jet stream and also release Arctic air into the U.S.
So the big question now, Rachel, what's going to happen to us and when?
Well, I hope everybody in Colorado is craving a little winter weather, because that's exactly what Nuri is going to mean for us here in Colorado. Take a look at your temperature trends. This is for the next week. Now, we get a slight cool down as we head into the weekend, but watch what happens into next week. It is going to get much colder. We are talking about high temperatures in the 30s and 40s. And unlike the past couple of storm systems, we're not going to rebound the next day. Instead, that cold air is going to stick around all the way through the end of the work week next week. We'll talk more about that with your 7-day planner, but let's get you through the next 24 hours first. Check out this cool time lapse. That is the moon rising, taken by our own Cardio Isaac Blancas, and we had great skies to check out the moon tonight, and we are going to keep mostly clear skies around through the night tonight and into tomorrow. A nice start to the day, but tomorrow we are tracking changes. We'll have sunshine by 9 o'clock. Temperatures warming very quickly. We're in the 60s and 70s by lunchtime, but then temperatures begin to fall and the clouds will begin to build and the wind is going to increase tomorrow afternoon. We have a cold front that's going to push through, so tomorrow afternoon cooler than tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. Keeping a light jacket with you is a great idea. I'll let you know what that cold front means for your weekend. We'll also talk about that cold blast of air heading our way with your 7-day forecast. That's coming up here in just a little bit. James and Heather, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. A former Colorado Springs teacher who pled guilty to having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl learned his fate today. Roger French was sentenced to 20 days in jail, and he has to be on the sex offender intensive supervised probation program. French taught at Mesa Ridge High School. Arrest records show he and the 17-year-old would have consensual sex while she was babysitting his roommate's children.
A sad day at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Veterinarians had to euthanize a popular hippopotamus today. 45-year-old Wicket was a Nile hippopotamus. The zoo says more than 50 million people got the chance to see her. Only 37 zoos in North America have Nile hippos. Wicket came to the zoo 2.5 years ago.
Well, 2 years and thousands of taxpayer dollars later, we are finally seeing the results of a downtown Colorado Springs baseball stadium survey. Mayor Steve Bach says the Rockies and Sky Sox asked for the survey, but the Rockies delayed releasing it because the team wanted the financial information kept confidential. Mayor Bach told the city attorney's office to release the documents, but the concept has actually now changed from a baseball stadium to an all-purpose stadium for the City for Champions project.
You'll see that if you live or work close to the existing location, that you are going to be less favorable of a downtown stadium and event center. And if you live or work in the downtown area, then you're going to be highly favorable.
The city paid $35,000 for that study.
Who fired the shot that killed bin Laden? A Navy SEAL steps forward and right into controversy. That's later.
Also ahead, a carjacking caught on camera. This bizarre story behind this one. Turns out it was all about the story.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed the past couple of days of warmth because things are about to change. We have a cold front that's going to move through tomorrow. Here's a look at what we're tracking. That's not going to drop temperatures all that much. Really, it's just going to make us fall back to where we should be this time of year. So expect a cooler day on Saturday. But temperatures this weekend still in the 50s and 60s, so not bad. Enjoy it and take advantage of it because we are going to turn much colder as we head into next week. Temperatures feeling a bit more like winter. So let's focus on that in just a minute. Let's take a look at your Friday first. Tomorrow as you're heading out the door, temperatures won't be as cold as they were last night, but you'll still want a jacket because we'll be dropping into the 30s overnight tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, we are going to get into the 60s and 70s. We'll hit our high temperatures around lunchtime and into the early afternoon. It's during the late afternoon when we'll get that cold front to push through. So the first half of the day will actually be quite pleasant. It's the second half of the day when we're going to see the changes moving in. The winds will pick up afternoon and into the late afternoon, and we are expecting wind speeds between 10 and 20 miles per hour, so it is going to get fairly breezy to round out your Friday. And along with the wind, the clouds are going to increase. Skycast is showing that quite nicely, and you'll also notice that around 3 o'clock, Skycast starts breaking out a few showers up across the high country, sliding them as we move toward the late evening hours. Here's a look at 8 o'clock across the Palmer Divide. So tomorrow we cannot rule out a few sprinkles along the Palmer Divide, something that we'll continue tracking very closely. And then in toward midnight, those showers start to focus their attention on the wets and sand grays in the form of some snow across the higher terrain. Tomorrow we just have a 10% chance of seeing those showers, and anything that we do see should be relatively light. So tomorrow afternoon, the big story really just going to be the dropping temperatures as well as the increasing wind. Saturday, Sunday, quite honestly, not looking that bad. We'll be cooler on Saturday, we'll warm up on Sunday, but then Monday will be our day of transition. We'll hit 59 degrees likely during the first half of your Monday, with temperatures plunging Monday afternoon into Tuesday. Your high temperature on Tuesday only getting to 39 degrees, and we are going to stay cold as we head through next week. Pueblo, the same story, 72 degrees tomorrow. We'll drop the temperature about 10 degrees Saturday, warm it up on Sunday, and then Pueblo, we're getting in on those 40s also. Not a good chance that this storm system is going to produce a lot in the way of any rain or snow. More than anything, it is just bringing that cold, cold air. 70 degrees in Canyon City tomorrow, 64 on Saturday. That advanced a little faster than I was hoping it was going to, but we are tracking across southern Colorado pretty much the same story. So 40s for the lower elevations, but up across the high country, 30s as we head into the middle of the work week next week. So again, enjoy the warm temperatures that we'll get this weekend. If you haven't winterized your sprinkler system, this weekend will be the perfect opportunity to do so. You'll definitely want to get that taken care of because next week those overnight lows dropping into the teens. So when we're talking about 60s and 70s for the weekend, and then 30s and 40s next week, it's going to come as a bit of a shock. So definitely want to be prepared for that. Winter is on its way.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have our Christmas tree up, so we need it to get cold. So.
Oh, you never took it down from last year, right?
No, we put it up after Halloween.
Somebody's
That's how we
in the
do
Christmas
it.
spirit.
We're ready.
Well, to each their own.
I love it. All right, thanks, Rachel. Well, these gals here are ranked the second best high school volleyball team in the country.
And tonight we're at Lewis Palmer as they get ready for state.
Since the death of Osama bin Laden, many wanted to know who fired the deadly shot. Now one SEAL says he did it. Robert O'Neill claims to be the shooter. He's a decorated former SEAL from Montana who now works as a motivational speaker. O'Neill told the Washington Post he fired a shot which struck bin Laden in the forehead. The terrorist leader died instantly. A former SEAL says O'Neill is breaking code.
And it's had an effect on the way that the public looks at us, and that is wrong because the SEAL community, as you know many of us, it's a brotherhood and it is a tight group that is very professional.
The head of the SEAL Command sent a letter reminding SEALs not to break their code of silence, warning of judicial consequence if they do.
Well, a news crew in Australia became the story during a carjacking and wild chase. A biker flagged down a news van and admitted he had assaulted a woman, even had the blood on his hands to prove it. But then he pulled out a gun, got in the van, and stole it. Then the dash cam, though, was still rolling inside the stolen truck, shows the chase. It ends when the biker crashes the van. He does face several charges and will be in court tomorrow.
Wow.
All caught on tape.
Yeah. There's something mentally wrong with him, clearly.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah. How we doing?
Well, the Avs did something they hadn't done all season tonight. And we're going to check in with not one of the top volleyball teams in the state, but in the country. Sports coming up. Josh did that. I think. He told him he's supposed to put it in brackets. He needs sports monitor. Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Sorry.
She was going to toss to him saying, Spumon.
Oh, so that actually came up in the prompter.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Just there like a
Yeah, you know what's weird is he never, when I came back, he never.
Now, Rob Namnoon with Southern Colorado's award-winning sports.
Good evening, everybody. The Avs are like a bare tree during this time of the year. The Avs don't have many winds on their branches thus far. The Avs trying not to fall to the Maple Leafs tonight. Clearly, I was bored when I was writing this. This game decided in a shootout tonight. Alex Tanguay, pretty sneaky, sis. The old 5-hole. The Avs win their first shootout of the season by a score of 4-3. The Lewis Palmer volleyball team will try and win the Class 4A state title on Saturday. Josh Williamson has more.
Alexis Smith might be one of the best volleyball players to come out of the state of Colorado ever.
She'll graduate from Lewis Palmer with the second highest number of kills in the state of Colorado in all time.
Her and Nicole Montgomery are the two lone seniors on the team as they look to defend their state championship.
Freshman year, it's just like one big family. They just adopt you into their little family, and it was great. You make a mistake on the court, you just know like the ball's going to come right to you again and you have a chance to kill it.
The Rangers have the talent, the chemistry, and maybe there's a little bit of superstition involved as well.
You cannot wear black and blue. That is not allowed. Black and blue is definitely not okay. When you wear white socks, you have to wear white knee pads. Okay. And when you wear black socks, you have to wear black knee pads.
I won't pick up a penny if it's tails. If it's tails up, I look at it and I think, oh my gosh, you know, I can't do that.
It's been a one-sided coin for the Rangers this season. Heads up every game as they enter the playoffs against Air Academy on Friday.
It's a new year and people are going for that target on our back. So it's something that I think really motivates us.
From Lewis Palmer High School, Josh Williamson, KRDO, News Channel 13 Sports.
Thank you, Josh. Finally, Rob Namnoon has this week's edition of Namnoon's Nuttiest.
I got to play better. That's pretty plain and simple. You know, quarterback stinks. Usually, you're not going to win many games.
You know what stinks? Getting your skate stuck with your opponent. Another example of something that really stinks, being Glenn Rice Jr. and getting hit in a very sensitive area. Something that stinks on a different level, being the New York Jets. You deflect a pass, and Anthony Fasano of the Chiefs catches it on his keister and scores a touchdown. Finally, the nuttiest thing to happen this week happened on Sunday after the Nextel Cup race when Jeff Gordon got into it with Brad Keselowski and a rumble ensued. Looks like James and Heather in the break room. We'll be right back.
full moon out tonight. Here's a beautiful shot of it for Capturing Colorado from Sarah McNeil Bender.
Yeah, we want to see your pictures too. Send them to capturingcolorado@KRDO.com. You can also post them on our Facebook and Twitter pages. We are KRDO News Channel 13.
Thanks for joining us.